Title of today's episode, What the Pell? I will showcase 3 different types of Pell, the pros and cons of each, and follow that up with some recommendations for what else you need in addition to a Pell to begin your Buhurt journey. Spoiler alert, it ain't much. So what the heck is a Pell? The Pell is the unsung hero of Buhurt training. It's the most essential and basic piece of equipment that you will use. It's just you, your weapon, and this steadfast post, or tire, or bundle of rope that helps you hone your precision and power. If you're serious about Buhurt, then the Pell is where you start. Before you face an opponent, you need to master your strikes on something that doesn't dodge, parry, complain, or hit back. It's like your bestie, always there when you need to unload the stress of the day, can take whatever you dish out, and won't hold a grudge when you accidentally hit below the belt. Just like a true friend, it helps you become the best version of yourself, one strike at a time. So, in my opinion, your Pell deserves a name. And in honor of my childhood best friend, I have dubbed this one Steve. This one we call the twins. And this one my kids call Aromatic Harold because it has a weird chemical smell. So what's the difference between these 3? Well, one is less ugly than the rest, and when your wife won't let you stack tires like this in your backyard, well then a rope is a good option. It's highly mobile too. You can bring it down and run it up any old tree in the area. One downside, or upside, depending on how you look at it, is that it absorbs your strikes really well. So therefore it's more tiring. In that way it's good, more of a challenge. But it also tires you out. So when you want a longer bout or longer sparring sesh, and you want that satisfying recoil of the weapon bouncing back into your starting position, well then nothing beats a rubber tire. And then when you want a little movement, you can do a Post Pell. This, for example, is Samuel Ride working a Post Pell, and notice how it's bouncing around a little bit. Provides just a little movement to help hone your accuracy. It's simply, though, a wooden post with some kind of padding, either carpet or foam, something like that, to help absorb some of the blow. And so another thing to consider, their mobility, their aesthetic, if that's important to you, and then which weapons are going to work on it. So for example, a rope Pell is great for blades, sticks, spars, pipes. Not so much an axe. I haven't tried it yet with an axe, but I just can't imagine the small bite of that blade doing much on the rope. The tire will leave black marks on your metal, so a lot of folks won't use their nice weapons. That's something to keep in mind. And therefore the post becomes a great overall choice for axe or sword or buckler. However, some do believe that the repeated hits vibrating the blade of your sword will weaken it over time. Go figure. So try all of them and see which one you like the most. Let them help you hone these skills. All right. So aside from a Pell, what else do you need to start your training? Well, as a recap, I have been to 1 new fighter orientation after catching the fever at a Ren fair. I have been to 1 practice only, and both of those events, those latter events, were about an hour away from my home. And so it is inconvenient. Some of you might be saying, well, I wish it were only an hour away, because your closest might be 2 or 3 or even 4 hours away. So I will stress that it is important, even if you're planning on the necessity of solo training like I am. There's just not enough people in your own backyard to get a group together for that training. Then you should still make the effort to travel a few times a reasonable distance to at least get to know your team, meet them, and that way after you've connected in person, you can continue to connect via social media and group chats. For example, both Idaho teams and the Utah team they all communicate using Discord, so that's a great way to just to stay in touch and keep the enthusiasm alive. I can't stress that enough, that having that shared enthusiasm is really important, because once you've caught it, you want to share it with everybody, but it is not catching. Okay, it is not a very communicable illness. For some reason, people wonder why anyone would voluntarily seek to be pummeled with real steel weapons. My wife, for example, no matter how much she loves me, when she's as non-nerdy and non-violent as she is, she's definitely going to struggle with that. And she offers her support instead from a safe, curious, and sword-free distance. So get there and find your chapter. Then you've got a Pell, you've got a team, you're connected with them, and now let's talk weapons. This one here is called Pipey, I think. Lee, have you come up with a better name for this yet?
No, sir.
This is the one you've seen in any of my recent videos. It is literally a forged steel pipe that was in a junk pile. I found it and threw some tape on the bottom. That's it. I also have an axe. I'll have to show a picture of that in a second. That sucker is just a 12-pound trampoline pipe that I salvaged once the 1,000-pound tree branch fell and crushed it. So I call this one Trampy. Let's see, and this of course is a trash can lid that I use as a buckler. Okay, so go forth, my fellow nerd friends, frolic and forage. Search for those weapons that lie waiting for you in the rusted relic heaps of bygone days. And when you're ready to buy, check out buhurttech.com. That is where I purchased my first set of weapons like this sick combo blade and buckler setup. Here's a picture of it. I am very stoked to show you those bad boys in action once they get here, shipped from Ukraine. As far as what additional gear I'm going to get next, I think I need to start with my own gambeson, just in case I get to use some loner armor, and I don't want to make the mistake again of putting on someone else's sweat-ridden cotton raiment. It was gross, to say the least. And after that, I really want to get a full set of soft kit so that I can train hard with grappling again and striking. The trouble is, most folks don't want to invest too heavily in soft kit because it simply puts them behind that much further from getting their full metal kit. However, I am seeking to change minds there, because after all, watch this footage of Samuel Ride again at his club, rolling hard in the soft kit. My thought is that if you want to fight like a knight, you need to train like one. And so being able to quickly throw on and off that soft kit without taking 20 minutes to suit up, you can get to practice a lot faster, and you can really practice the throws with a decreased risk of injury to people than if you were to just throw on grass or mat, because no Buhurt gym that I have seen thus far has had adequate padding, such as a tatami mat, for doing proper judo throws. So the next best thing would be to have the padding all around your body. That plus grass or wrestling mats or something like that should do the job of keeping you safe. So what I may end up doing is investing in 2 sets at least, so that I can go 1v1 with a partner. And speaking of training like a knight, I did meet with my buddy Ajax, like I said in the last episode. He is still putting together a regimen for me. I have several episodes that I'm planning on using to explain the thought behind the regimen and introducing several new workouts that are new to me, such as the Bulgarian bag and the heavy weighted sandbags, as well as a mace and battle ropes. All things I'll need to invest in, unfortunately, but I think it's going to be worth it. I'm playing the long game here. I want to really lay the foundation well so that once I do finally get my own suit of armor, I'm going to be more than ready. All right. As far as the next video, I'm probably going to explain some of the rules in more detail, as I've had several people in my life asking what that's all about. I'll show some footage that I scavenged from the YouTubes and such in order to illustrate them. And then after that, there is another Ren Fair coming up in just 2 weeks. I am very stoked for, because I'm going to meet several more people from slightly more distant clubs, and I'll be going to a practice session with a group that can field 20 plus full nights. It's gonna be awesome. So stay tuned for that, and as always, remember, Buhurt is life.